bunch of software already built in for a lot of the standard woodworking projects. So we have circles, we have rectangles, we have slots, pin tool to do specific line drawings. And then some new features called probe circle and probe rectangle, where it allows you to measure something that's already been cut. So we can lower the bit down, probe this circle 3 times, and it'll locate where that circle is and how big it is. Then you have that shape where you can offset or add things to it. This is already out. This came out last fall. So if you go into the settings here, you'll see under the extensions, you have a couple features called probe circle, probe rectangle. If you go in there, you can enable them, and basically it allows you to probe a circle. Maybe we can show you how cool this is, because it's a pretty rad thing. So I'm just going to switch out the bit real quick. You got a engraving bit down there? This bit out. We're going to put the engraving bit, the point inside of it. Tighten this up.
You notice you're not using the Mike Coffin method of just switching the spindle and the router bit. You should have a different spindle for every router bit, so the change is quicker.
It definitely speeds it up, you know? So let's say I removed this tape and I cut this circle here, and I needed to add something to it. Okay, so I'm going to start a new scan. And with Orgin, for scanning, you just pick up these blue dots and scan the area you want to look at. When you're done, you can click Save. Now, when I come down here, I'm going to see the image of the shape. And the image is good up to about 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch. So if I wanted to put something right on the edge of this, or I wanted to put a logo right in the center of this circle here, I would be off a little bit probably if I used the image. For some things, that's fine, like a bow tie, it's 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch is not going to be the biggest problem in the world. But for something where you want it to align properly, you got to set up a grid. And so I'm going to use this probe circle to do this. And what you're going to see here is it's going to probe this thing 3 times, and that will create a circle shape on that based on the size of my bit. And then that allows me to essentially have a grid that goes through it as well. So, there it is. So I'm going to lower the bit down until I'm below that little edge here.
Yep. So this is the Z-touch to measure the distance from the router bit to the height of the material.
And I'm just lowering it manually until it's touching. Make sure my bit's set properly. And if I go in here, I can now touch that edge. 1, come over here, 2, and then when I start drawing the third one, it's going to start drawing a size of a circle that matches. Now, right now, I'm measuring the outside of the bit, but I've actually got the inside circle. So I just need to toggle which side of the bit I was probing. And now when I take that third point, now I have a shape and a grid that's at the center of that circle that I can easily offset here. So let's just say I wanted to now cut it. I could do let's say I wanted a ridge lip on this. I can come back, change my bit out.
So, you just turn the engraving bit upside down for the probe.
I want a perfect 1/4 inch shape to make sure the file's on the mark. Okay, then I switch this out. I'm going to do a quick Z-touch just to measure the top of the surface. And then now if I go over the shape, talking about offsets again, let's set our depth to like 0.05, just a real small channel. And if I do a 0.05, that's going to move it in. So I actually want a negative to go out. So let's do a negative. And then I just turn the spindle on, turn the vacuum on. I'm just going to slowly route this circle. And then boom, we have this perfect aligned shape on a pre-existing shape. You can also snap shapes, designs. All right, thank you so much. We also do the same thing with rectangles, where you put the outside of a rectangle, and then you get the center point. So you can put some tendon joinery on or a piece of stock that you don't even know the dimensions.
What's cool about that is, we've talked about this on Zoom before, when you drill a hole with the Forstner bit and you need that hole to be a little bit bigger, that the Forstner bit works off the center, and it's almost impossible unless you make a jig to drill that. This just solved that problem. That solved that problem. When you need to go from a hole to a larger hole where you're going all the way through, or not even all the way through, just punching into it and pocketing it out. So that's a very cool feature by itself.
Yeah, one of the other software on Origin does change over time. And with that, you get new features, improvements. Some are paid, like AutoPass, where it allows you to cut faster and do multiple depths in one go. Some are free, like the Proby. And so one that we also did recently, which is quite cool, and this is even more we have a new feature on Origin called export. And so if I export and pick a name, and that's going to export my file up to the cloud for me. And so if I go to Shaper Studio, I can open that, and I'm going to get the file that was created here. So I have that circle, I can see the size, 2.001, and let's say I wanted to engrave something in the center now. Let's say we wanted to put some text in. Okay, so do that, scale this down a bit. Let's change it to a single line font. We now have a bunch of single line fonts, which are a little bit easier to speed when you're cutting them because you're not doing double line cutting. So if we go to the single line font selection here, we can do this little space font here. And now, if I come back to Origin, I can import that file that I just changed. And now all I need to do is set the position to the same 0 that I had here. And now I have that font located in the world. So this, we kind of call this round trip. You start on Origin, you have a problem, you send it up to the cloud, you fix it, then you bring it back down, and everything aligns properly. And so now we can take this out, swap back for the engraving bit, this time using the pointy end.
Putting the engraving bit back in to do the hello.
Pointing him down this time. Now, this one's a little bit trickier, but I'm going to actually Z-touch off the bottom. I'm doing an engraving bit, and I'm going to do a manual Z-touch. Okay, so now I've set my 0 to this instead of the top. And now I can just go in here, set my depth. Double click.
Did you have autopilot on, or you have the...
I'm just double clicking and that automatically tells it to go. So you can see here, like if I go to this O, if I double click, it'll be in auto lock mode. So you don't have to hold it down the right way.
So the font's small enough that it will move around in that circle.
And I just move my tool while it's doing that. And boom. So really inhabiting some really cool features where you're going from the real world to the digital world and back. without guessing, is that going to line up properly? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we've been talking about the present and the future, screen to machine. But this makes it so much easier to do these things. You don't need to have all those computer skills that you can do. Like I said, they sent it from here to here and back, and he modified that. So that's an awesome feature, and all this stuff is getting easier and easier. So you don't need to have mad computer skills to design and do stuff, because you can do everything a lot on here. But with the Shaper Studio, it's very easy to use.
Yeah, and if you need more, there's other programs with more complex feature sets, 3D shape, all that kind of stuff. But the majority of the stuff that we find people are doing with Orgin are actually pretty simple cuts that are high precision, located on material or based on visual. So, yeah, and just to recap, one of the things last year, we made Studio free for everyone. So all the feature sets are available with a limited number of exports. So every month you get 3 exports from studio files to SVG files. So whether you're using Origin, a laser cutter, CNC, you can still use Shaper Studio in a limited access without paying anything. And I think Studio is now roughly $70 a year. And so it breaks up to be about $5 a month for unlimited exports. And that's where this syncing happens every time.
That changed last year.
Yeah, it was a little more expensive. So that's Shaper Studio.